first question, right off the bat, what would be your baseball walk-up song?
Well, I'd have to say Homegrown from Zac Brown Band.
That's a good song.
Because I've got everything I need and nothing that I don't. And I truly feel that way. And, I'm a bit of a Christian music, country music fan, so that one seems to suit me best.
Describe your job to somebody who doesn't work in politics and kind of never has.
Well, I think the best way to describe it is that I'm a storyteller. And those of us who work here at Heritage, particularly in the communications department, are looking for ways to tell stories that take complex issues, often policy debates that are taking place here in Washington or across the country, and simplifying them in ways that people understand that these conservative solutions will lead to better lives for more American people, more people around the world.
Fantastic. And the job of an editor-in-chief would keep most people busy enough, but not only do you do that, but you're also vice president of communications. So for those watching who want to learn about time management, maybe you're a great person to ask. How do you balance those two roles?
Well, I think the first thing is building a good team. And we have an excellent group of managers and directors here at Heritage and the Daily Signal, which certainly makes it a whole lot more successful and day-to-day manageable, as you said, because there is a lot coming at you. I mean, any communications job in Washington, D.C. is basically going to be a 24/7 operation, particularly with this president in the White House and the media environment in which we live. And so being able to delegate to people who are responsible and really do their jobs well, I think is the number one task. But also, just having the right frame of mind and figuring out, okay, this is a priority that needs to be dealt with immediately, and this is something that's more of a longer term focus. And I think that's one of the things we've been able to do successfully.
Fantastic. And there's a lot of people that I work with at the Leadership Institute who are interested in careers in journalism. What first appealed to you about a career in journalism, and do you still love that thing?
I certainly do. I mean, I first got interested in journalism when I was in high school. My first job was at the Clinton Courier, a small weekly newspaper in upstate New York. And my mentor there, the editor-in-chief, really set me on a path that I think led me to where I am today. The thing I love most about journalism is probably asking questions. I am just an inquisitive person, so getting to meet really interesting people, getting to learn about them, and then on the other side, producing a product, whether it's a written story or a video or a podcast, that really helps educate people, helps them better understand an issue. That's what's really rewarding.
What would you say you look for in new hires at the Daily Signal? And what advice would you give to people who are looking for that kind of first step in journalism?
Well, we agree with Morton Blackwell that personnel is policy. So that is probably one of the most important lessons that I think any conservative can take away. It's really important when you're going through the recruitment process and when you're interviewing candidates for these positions, that you take the time to evaluate their skills and abilities. And I'd say one of the top skills and abilities for people who are aspiring to go into journalism is to be a good writer. And how do you get to become a good writer? It just takes practice. I mean, it really does. So even if you don't have a job or a particular role where you're doing journalism on a day-to-day basis, the great thing about the era that we live in today is that anybody can be a reporter, anybody can be a publisher. So you can set up a blog, you can be doing this on Facebook, you can find any different vehicle. And so I look for that because I think if you're a good writer, that's probably a good indication that you can do video, you can do podcasts, because there's script writing that goes into all of those various communications tools. And so that's first and foremost one of the things that I think is so important. I'd say secondarily, having a knack for what makes a good story. So there are just some people who understand that this is something that people are going to find interesting. And I think, and this is how to frame it in a way that people will find it interesting. Those are skills that not everybody has, but I think you can develop and learn over time.
Fantastic. I think that's a really important point because there's going to be a lot of people, and I do get asked from time to time, how do I start to build a reputation for myself, even though I'm not yet working in the movement, or in this case, in a conservative media outlet? So that's some really important advice, I think.
Well, and you have organizations like Campus Reform, news outlets that give college students an opportunity to contribute before they're even entering the professional marketplace. So I think that if you're somebody who is aspiring to get into journalism, there has never been a better time, because you can look to so many different places to be a contributor and start to learn the tools of the trade and to take advantage of it.
Just a couple of kind of get to know you questions,
Sure.
if you like. So, can you tell us, what do you find yourself wanting to do when you have a free weekend, if you ever get a free weekend?
Well, with two boys, there's not many free weekends, but I would say that the best weekend is probably a Little League game, a backyard barbecue, some time with friends or family, doing those things, going for a run, a bike ride. I really love spending time with my family, and I think that's one of the things that I try to set work aside whenever possible to be able to do that and be at those key events in their lives to make a difference.
What's your favorite thing about working at the Heritage Foundation that has nothing to do with your job?
Oh, there are so many things, but the one thing that stands out in my mind is probably our 4th of July party. So we're all up on the roof. We have a great view of Washington, D.C., and the fireworks are just going off, not only on the National Mall, but all around you. You have a beautiful view of the U.S. Capitol right there across the street, the Washington Monument, all of the city. And to be up there with your family, my wife, and my kids is just an incredible moment, and I always look forward to that every year.